Hi, thank you for joining me today. On September 15th, the church celebrates Our Lady of Sorrows. What does this mean? Well, there's something known as the Seven Sorrows of Mary. There's a chaplet, a type of rosary known as the Seven Sorrows, associated with St. Bridget of Sweden in the Middle Ages. And the seven sorrows are, first, the presentation in the temple. Mary brings her infant son to be presented in the temple, and Simeon breaks into this song of thanksgiving to God, but he says to her, "This child is destined to be the downfall and rise of many in Israel, and your own heart a sword shall pierce." So even in the beginning there, at the beginning of Jesus' life, there's a hint of what's going to come. And then there is the flight into Egypt, having to flee for her life, for the life of her son at least, into a foreign land, living in a foreign land as an immigrant. There's losing the child, Jesus, and finding him in the temple after 3 days. So anyone who's lost a child can certainly relate to that. And then the remaining four have to do with the Passion. So seeing Jesus as he's carrying the cross, standing at the foot of the cross, and then holding the dead Christ in her arms. And then finally, the burial of Jesus, watching her child be buried. Anyone who has lost a child can relate to that. And what I value about this feast of Our Lady of Sorrows is what it reminds us. It reminds us that the Blessed Mother did not live her life inside a gold-edged holy card or a stained glass window. But rather, she was a real woman who faced very real problems in life with very real faith in God. Even before all this, she had to deal with what from the human side of things was an unplanned pregnancy. She gave birth in the equivalent of a parking garage. And then these other sorrows, Simeon's prophecy, having to flee into another country as a refugee, having lost a child, and then having watched her son die of capital punishment, die a horrendous death. Mary was a real woman who faced real problems in life with a very real faith in God. And there's one illustration of it I'd like to share with you. This is a rather personal one. This is a print of Our Lady of Sorrows, a rather inexpensive print. Now, this belonged to my great-grandmother. A art historian told me that it looked like the painting, the picture's not a painting, the print. The eyes look late Victorian. And my great-grandparents were married in the 1890s. So perhaps this was a wedding present for them. Don't know. But it's a simple frame, and it's a little sentimental, actually. But still, you see Mary holding the dead Jesus there in her arms. Now, my great-grandmother had 8 children who lived to adulthood. There was another one who died as an infant. But her oldest child died of tuberculosis in 1924, when my great aunt, that's the one who passed away, would have been, probably in her late 20s, probably pushing 30. You know, tuberculosis certainly was a terrible scourge back then, still is today, just not as much of it. And I can't help but wonder if for the rest of her life, my great-grandmother would look at that picture and see Mary holding her dead child in her arms and just think, I can relate. I can relate to that. Don't know, that's just speculation on my part, but hopefully someday I'll be able to ask my great-grandmother that. But in the meantime, the message of this feast, Mary was a real woman who faced very real problems in life with a very real and intentional faith in God. And so too, inspired by her example and assisted by her prayers, as we face problems in life, we ask for that grace that we might be real people facing real problems of life with a very real and intentional faith in God. Our Lady of Sorrows, pray for us.